Hello guys, welcome to my first guide for protection paladins in TBC Classic. In this video we will discuss talents. It will consist of two parts. In first part I will explain value of different talents so you can do your own build, and in the second part I will show 3 or 4 ready to use builds. Let's start. One of main changes of paladins in TBC is that consecration was moved from talents to the general spells. This means that we don't need to spend 11 talents in Holy Tree and can focus on Retribution Tree. Distribution of talents between Protection Tree and Retribution Tree is mainstream for TBC. Here I highlight and rate different talents that could be useful for Protection Paladin. If it's colored with blue, it's almost mandatory talent and it will be used in any build you choose. Talents colored with green is very solid talents, and usually when you do different builds you will move talents from one green to another green talents. And orange talents are very optional talents that could be useful in very specific situations, or they just not that useful, but you need to put your points somewhere to go further. I will not stop on mandatory talents because they describe themselves very well, and will go through just green and orange talents. First one is Taunus. It will increase your armor value of items by 10%. The effectiveness of this talent highly depends on tuning of bosses and mobs and raids. If physical damage will be high, it will become mandatory talent. If not that high, it will be not that mandatory talent, and you can put just 2 or 3 points and just to go through. Next one is Anticipation. This talent will be mandatory in the first phases and not that mandatory in the last phases, because with better gear it will be easier for you to reach defense cap, and in this case the effectiveness of this talent will be lower, but it will still provide you 2% of total avoidance, which is pretty much. Spell warding is another talent to increase your mitigation, and if you go full mitigation build it is a mandatory spell for you, but 4% of spell damage taken is not that big. Okay, Reconning. Reconning is very interesting talent because it has been changed in TBC, so now it will provide extra attacks not after incoming crit but after melee swing, and it will provide 4 extra attacks for 8 seconds, and it is very good for your seals, for single target threat, and if you're focusing on tanking bosses, this talent is very useful for you. About next talent, one-handed weapon specialization, it is a tricky point because the description has been changed and now it will provide you increasing of all damage you deal when a one-handed melee weapon is equipped. In this case it should increase also your spell damage, but you should check how it actually works in TBC. I don't have information for now and it is a big question mark for me. If it works like it is described in the talent, it is pretty strong talent for threat build. But if once again it increases only your physical damage from your physical attacks, white attacks, it's basically useless. Next talent is Ardent Defender. Someone of you think that it is mandatory talent for Paladin because it is a passive, saving cooldown, even if there is no cooldown of this ability, but still, okay, and that it is extremely useful. But the reality is a little bit different, because the main point of saving abilities is that it should be preventive. You shouldn't use your saving ability at last % of your health, because most likely it will not help. When warriors use their shield wall, that they use it before some critical phases, enrage, big incoming damage, etc. In this case you are already on low health, and this reduction of incoming damage might be not that useful as it's supposed to be. That's why I don't count this talent as a mandatory talent. I think in future I will make a separate video where I will describe the mechanics of Argent Defender and why this talent is not so OP as it's supposed to be. And Avenger's Shield, last talent in protection tree. It is very good talent actually, and there is only one reason why you don't put talent point in this Avenger's Shield talent, is that you go to Sanctity Aura in Retribution 3. This is the only reason. If you don't want to have a Sanctity Aura as a protection paladin, you must put 1 point into Avenger's Shield. Okay, now let's move to the Retribution tree. I will skip Benediction and Deflection talents, they are pretty obvious, and I will start with Improved Judgment. Basically it's quite good for single target tanking, because Judgment is your base spell for single target threat. Also it increases your utility abilities, because if you need to update Judgment of Wisdom, of Light, of Crusader, you definitely need this talent as well. Next one is my favorite, Pursuit of Justice. It's really cool to have speed increase for tank, and 15% it is also Avacyn bonus, so it's really worth to spend these points into this talent. Next one is Crusade. It is not very big bonus for your threat from this talent, but it is one of the best options if you want to go deep into Retribution tree, into Sanctity Aura, or if you have to spend some free points to somewhere. Okay, and the last one here is Sanctity Aura. If you want to really focus on your threat and you don't have Retribution Paladin in party, or don't have the possibility to put Retribution Paladin in your party, you really want to go deep into Retribution tree and get this Sanctity Aura, but it's quite aggressive way of playing, so be sure that it is okay for your healers. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, Holy Tree is not very good for hybridization for protection paladins in TBC. But if you want to go into Holy Tree, the only reason is to have improved Lay on Hands. It is still very good safe ability with different ways of using, but I still think that going into Retribution tree is much better. And now, if you want to have just ready to use solution, I will show you several builds for Protection Paladin. First one is Full Mitigation build. It is very useful for new Protection Paladins with weak gear, or in case if the tuning of bosses in raids will be very strong and incoming damage will be very high. In this case we also will need to use this build to increase our survivability. Next one is a little bit more aggressive build. We removed some points from mitigation talents such as Stones, Anticipation, Spell Warding, and now we have Reconning and One-Handed Weapon Specialization. In this case we still have quite high survivability, but our threat will be higher. Next one is most aggressive build, where we go deep into Retribution tree to the Sanctity Aura and get all other talents which increase our threat. Links to all these builds you can find in description to this video. I hope you enjoyed this video, it was useful and interesting for you. Next time I will discuss stats and rotation of Protection Paladin, so see you soon.